Hello, my intellectuals out there. I am Belazian Quita, and this is Sin TV here on NowHipHop.com. With all of the various MLK celebrations that have been going on, not only in America, but across the world, there's been this question and this idea that has been on my mind for quite some time, and that is this. Are we all on the same playing field? All the things that MLK addressed in the I Have a Dream speech, have we fulfilled that? And to me, I still feel in America, we're at 50%, and we still have a long, and I mean a long way to go. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So for me, I am African American, and my parents are African, so it puts me into a very kind of a rock and a hard place when I'm dealing, for example, with the African American community. And within this African American community, of course, there is a segregation of African American versus African people versus African, and I put in quotes, African American people who are that rock in the hard place. So they were born in America, they are African American, but they have African parents. So they also have to deal with not only the traditional African values or African values overall, and of course the African American system values as well. So it's two different things, honestly, it really is. And for me, growing up, it created this eternal conflict inside of me because, for example, I would have African American female friends, and they would look at my features and say to me, make fun of me and say I looked primitive, or they would meet my parents and ask them if they, had monkeys and stuff growing up, and just really ignorant stuff like that. And that is a problem because that completely counteracts what MLK was talking about in that speech, that whether you're white, whether you're African or African American or wherever you're from, we should all be seen on the same playing field. And I mean, to me, it used to really break my heart because, I would end up hanging out by myself, and I didn't want to deal with. What ends up happening is when you have someone that's ignorant and they make fun of you and they come after you, you tend to create a generalization of a whole group. So what ended up happening for me was the fact that I stopped hanging around African American people because I had made the assumption that they would not like me because I had African parents, and that's not the case at all. I think, and that's the other issue too, is that when we use generalizations, that also recreates the segregation that our ancestors, and it doesn't matter if you're African American, wherever you're from, if we use generalizations, okay, and this, I can apply this especially to the Latino community, when we use generalizations about Latino people, that is making it harder for Latino people who want to be progressive and want to represent themselves correctly. And you know what the key is to this whole ideology of the I have a dream, this is just me, is education. I don't care if you go to a 2-year school or you go to a 4-year school, or heck, just read a book that has some accurate representation of cultural sensitivity and understanding. That is really the key. When I entered my undergraduate education, and now I'm transitioned on and moved on to graduate level studies, which I really feel blessed because not everybody, especially people of color, we don't always necessarily have the right conditions and privileges to be able to do that. It opened my mind to really see that race is really a social construct that was created not only to segment people and discriminate against them, but it also created this self-hate of ourselves. And I think that we have to educate each other about each other's people. We need to quit with this. For me personally, we need to quit with this, pro fill in the racial group or pro fill in the racial group. I think that we need to do pro multicultural. That's just me. I feel that we live in a very complex multicultural society, and we should be fighting for each other, and we should be fighting for the rights for everybody, not just one particular group of people. Don't get me wrong, it is very important to preserve our history. It is very important to, to understand where we come from and to share that with others. I feel that niched history is very, very vital to the foundation of our country, but we've gotten to a point now where, blacks are marrying whites and Latinos are marrying Asians, and we're a very multicultural society. I'm not going to say blended, because to me I feel like blended is saying that, we all are the same, and we all may have the same experiences, but there's still unique challenges that we have to deal with. And I think that is so, so important that when we have MLK Day, we have these celebrations and we think about what he has done, not only for African American people, but what he did for a nation of people who felt that their voices could not be heard and could not be addressed. So I think it's so important to read up on other people's histories. I don't only read up on African and African American history. I read up on Europe, European history, and I read up on Asian history, and here's the funny thing: no matter if you're Asian or you're Polish or wherever you're from, we've all had some form of racial segmentation and segregation, and the cycle is pretty similar. So instead of us being angry at each other and using stereotypical jargon to suppress each other, why don't we do what MLK did, just come together and really understand our differences, embrace our differences, love each other. I can't, it blows my mind how many people are so critical of interracial unions. I support interracial unions because I feel for me, and this is just me, I feel it takes a real man to step up, or it takes a real person overall to step up and say, you know what, I love this person not because of their physical attributes and cultural attributes, but I really love this person because they make me feel complete and they make me feel happy. And at the end of the day, that is what social equality is. It is a combination of understanding, it is a combination of understanding our history, but it's also a cultural competence. Like, I feel like once you have all three of those together, then finally we will have social equality, and then all of the stereotypes that everybody says about each other will just come to an end. So do you agree with what I said, or how do you feel about the whole, social equality issue? And it doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're, from America or you're not from America. The rules apply, and it's the same thing. We all have, challenges and things that we go through. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And once again, I am Belasian Quita. And remember to stay classy and don't be trashy.